Are you familiar with Nipsey Hussle?
No doubt. Nipsey, my mosque is right across the street from where Nipsey Hussle used to stand out on the corner. Slauson, I guess that's the northwest corner of Slauson and Crenshaw.
For the dime moves in the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf, I know them killers you kin to. This for the lost generation, broke as hell, man.
Lifting weights and I was on swole, they start calling me Big Miz.
Original stutter box. Eastside 5, who's Pebble on Bishop, Mill City Gangsta Bloods.
Kev Mac video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul.
This is the beginning.
Shining with it, it's your boy, the neighborhood net Brussels. You know what I'm saying? Shouting out All Hood Publishing, All Hood Magazine, real LA shit.
Gun violence has taken the life of Los Angeles rapper Nipsey Hussle.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why all my life I've been grinding all my life, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Look, I'm married to this game. Married to this game. Married to this game. That's who I made my wife. Said I die alone, I told that bitch she probably right. One thing that's for sure, not a stranger to this life. Got a safe that's full of Franklins and a shoulder full of stripes. I don't know a nigga like myself. I say self-made, meaning I design myself. County jail fade, you can pull my foul yourself. Spot rage, swallow rocks, I'm getting high myself.
The sad thing about it was, through all the situations that he had, through all the people that he knew, it took him to do it.
Gonna get you on a copy all the time, Nip Hussle.
What's up, Kev? I'm you call me rap guy, you know what I'm saying? But I'm Daddy Cool from the Pimp Clinic gang. That's Above the Law ATL.
My name is Rollo Styles. I'm a music producer and engineer from South Central Los Angeles. All Money In affiliate, Slauson Boy affiliate, you know.
I'm Tony Draws, out the 60s, one of the original members of the Slauson Boys.
Cuzzy Capone, Slauson Boy original, West Side Rolling 60s.
It's rimpau, feel me? You on 58th with it, you know what I'm saying?
Baby Gooch, RSC, aka Young Gucci Velli, man. We're at ground zero where it all started, bro.
Love you, bro. Hood, I knew that was you sitting right there. Yeah, I was talking about this. What y'all finna eat?
What's up, Kev, man?
It's my nigga Robin Hood, man.
Neighborhood.
I met Nipsey when I was a senior at Hamilton High School.
I actually met Nipsey, Ermias. I actually met Ermias in the hood. We was going to school together though. I used to see him in passing, but it was another friend we had named Jermaine. I was actually on 58th on my bike, and I bumped into him down the street, and I recognized him. I'm like, don't you go to Hamilton? He was like, yeah, I go to Hamilton with Ermias. And then we rode from right here to 60th and Rimpau. Went to Ermias' house, and he introduced me to Ermias. You feel me? And we've been locked in since then.
Everything could go bad over time, it's a cold cycle. Life's a twist, that's why I say fuck it, life's a bitch, and I know.
I graduated in 2000 from Hamilton.
So you met Nipsey about 99?
Yeah, 99.
Him and Rimpau was already tight?
Yeah, they was already a package deal. It wasn't like I met one and we all, you know what I mean? Like they was together and I was with this other crew. We called ourselves the Knuckleheads.
When you first met Nipsey, what name did he go by?
he was just going by E, Ermias.
Ermias actually took me to the Watts Towers. You feel me? He invited me to that Watts Towers program where we learn how to make music. You know what I'm saying? And we would be thugging in high school, you know, doing what we do, you know, macking the bitches and, you know what I'm saying, fucking with the girls, you know what I'm saying, getting fresh, trying to get the fly clothes, doing all the, you know, regular young nigga shit.
So, why was y'all going to Hamilton living over here? How did that work?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why I ended up at Hamilton. I think that was just like one of the schools my mom, you know what I'm saying, was just follow me to get in. I don't really understand why my mom like chose that direction for me. I don't think she wanted me to go to Crenshaw, honestly.
What about Nip? Why was he at Hamilton?
I don't have no idea why Nip was at Hamilton. It just worked out like that. Maybe because the performing arts thing too, you know. They had a big performing arts magnet at Hamilton. That might have had something to do with it.
What's the story on that?
They had an arts program. Basically, they had like music programs up there, like different programs to get you, you know what I'm saying, get you trades and shit. They taught trades up at Hamilton.
And Nip was part of that?
Yeah.
Hamilton?
We was trying to get into the music thing, the music programs. It was hard to actually get into the music classes. You know what I'm saying? We really wasn't focused in school. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like the classes me and Nip did have together, Nip was like fully on it. I was hella nonchalant with school. Like I would go to class and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, the classes that we was in, I seen Nip was like he was real focused on like excelling, you know? But like we was ditchers though. We would ditch. We would go to school and, you know what I'm saying, jump the gates and leave. You know what I'm saying? Go to the mall and shit. Do, you know what I'm saying? Just fun shit. We were just trying to get out the way, you know?
So you guys dropped out in the 10th grade?
Yeah, we dropped out. Well, really, this what happened. I started doing homeschool, and during the time I was doing homeschool, Nip just fully dropped out. You know what I'm saying? Nip would even come to my homeschool with me sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And we would just, that's when we started smoking weed and shit and just being bad, you know? We really kind of understood we wanted to do music at that time. Like, we wanted to be rappers. That was like our like dream, you know? Hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? Hip-hop really took an influence on our life at that time. We was like real serious about it. Because when we started going to the Watts Towers, we started playing with them NPCs and all them tracking machines. That shit really turned us out, you know what I'm saying?
When did you first meet Nip?
Probably like 03, into 03, close to 04.
I met Nip in 03 and 04 at Claustrophobic Studios.
One of these rappers, I think a rapper named Felony, little young rapper Felony, he was like one of the first ones that introduced me to Nipsey out here on Slauson and Crenshaw.
I've been banging 6 years. Neighborhood crib.
I remember the first time I met Cuz, like Cuz you said, Cuz had a flat top, had a fade. And
looking like Special Ed?
Looking like Special Ed, Cuz skinny as a motherfucker, tall.
African medallions.
And I'm not sure if we was at this gas station or we was on 58. And then we was talking about music. It was just like a regular conversation.
Or bear claws.
And then he came around, you had ball Cuz around the claws, and that's when he jumped on the claustrophobic shit.
Yeah, so and the 2 project.
Wait a minute, Nip's on the claustrophobic album?
Hell yeah. Smoking that la la la.
Where the hood at?
Yeah, Cuzzy Capone, reppin' claustrophobic mixtape.
And that was in what we did that.
Me and Nip redid a Jay-Z record.
Yeah, hard as fuck.
Back then.
Hard as fuck, for real produced. Right?
It's going down. Cuz he be smoking that la la la. Young Gooch keep smoking that la la la. Nipsey stay smoking the la la la. I'm from the hood, bitches scream when I'm rolling by. So come on, excuse me, trick. What's your name? How can I come on your face? Don't worry about me, I'm focused. You know they low, keep a gun on his waist. Now hoes wanna chill with the kid, young Cuzzy loco. Attracted to the way that I grind and how I get dough. I hit gates and scramble running from po-po. Either that or because of the hustler logo. Whatever it is, they fiend like he so sick with it. He roll nothing but dodo. In the back of the club, he gamble on the low. I was lost and raised and taught to be a showboat. Fast lane youngster living on the go-go.
How did you get the name Nipsey? What was that all about?
One day we was in here, we knew, you know, it was getting kind of hectic because we was making a lot of songs, so we knew we was finna start embarking on something. So he's like, I gotta put a stamp on my name. I just can't go by my government, just can't go by E. So I was like, all right, I got you, man. We're gonna just put it in the air. We're gonna sit back and let it come. And then one day it just came to me, Nipsey Hussle. I don't know how it came, it just like a light bulb popped off. I was like, yeah, that's it. I knew when I first came to it, I was like, that's the name for you. So I told him, Nipsey Hussle, man, told him about the spelling. He was like, where'd you get that from? I was like, it just came to me. But, you know, it's an old cat named Nipsey Hussle, who was actually the Tin Man in the Black Wizard of Oz. He was like a black activist to me, and he used to, you know, do a lot of rhyming and scatting and talking. So I was like, that'd fit right there. He was like an activist in the 70s, doing his thing, and it just clicked, you know what I mean?
Wait a minute. I heard a different story.
Me too. I was going to get that. Yeah.
I heard a different story. You guys were in the back somewhere.
Yeah, we was in the back. We was in the back here. We was trying to figure out a name.
And he left and came back. And he left? I don't want to tell the story.
No, yeah, because we first was talking about it, it didn't happen right away. When I said I'm going to come up with a name, he left. He left and he went and did his thing. And then, like 2 or 3 days later, the nigga just said he got his grind on, basically. You know what I mean? He came back, he had some money, he had a car, and I don't know if it was just divine intervention or what, but it just hit me. I'm like, Nipsey Hussle.
Cause he smoking the la la la. Young Gooch keep smoking the la la la. Nipsey stay puffing the la la la. I'm from the hood, bitches scream when I'm riding by.
Nipsey always smoking that la la la. To keep my brain maintained through drama, I'm not the one. We jacking for beats on back streets with aluminum bats, toe tag the PD. That's any jurisdiction in or out the district. 7-7 division of crime scene forensic. My mind blurred the vision of material witness. From 2020 to blind, now they need prescription. Cut the lights off and twist up a sack. Cause the feds watching the hood, you get all that. From the birds to the squads to the cameras in the back. Of the routes by the field where I handle the pack. See a nigga like me just had to attack. In junior high, I ain't had no sack lunch. In fact, I used to flip a quarter, get like me for change. Now I flip quarter pieces and cane and cop again, y'all man.
You a hustler. You a motherfucking hustler, so that's gonna stick. Nip Hussle.
Yeah, I heard y'all would be like hungry and want to get high.
Oh, that was all the time. We be hungry, we want to get high.
He left broke.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all was hungry and wanted to get high, and he left broke and came back with a box of Kentucky Fried Chicken. That ain't a true story.
No, man, yeah, that's a true story, but that ain't how he got his name. Like, you know, originally, it was a lot of shit. He used to always come through with shit. We used to come through with weed. We'd be back here with nothing, and then we leave. We come back and come together with a potluck. But he used to always be the youngster. He was like the youngest ones, but he used to always have that drive. When he leave, he come back with something. Whatever he say he gonna leave, he come back with. He wouldn't come back without nothing, empty-handed.
So before he was Nipsey, when he was E, explain his character. What type of person was he when you first met him?
I met this young man, and he was good to me. He didn't treat me like a smoker, even though I was smoking crack. You know, he treated me like a lady.
He was like a young cat trying to find himself to me, you know what I mean? You know, to me, when he first started rapping, you know, I told him, I was like, man, you remind me of Nas. You know what I mean? You got a nice spirit and you sharp.
Right out the gate? You give him Nas?
Bruh, right out the gate, I was like, Nas. He didn't have that Snoop persona like people say. It's a freestyle we got. You got a couple of freestyle, I got to get it from Dexter. When you see Nip rapping like 13, you like, all right, yeah, that's that. I can see where you get that analogy from Nas.
What was he rapping about back then before he got put on the hood? What was his raps about?
Like black and oppression and young people in the hood. But from a onlooker's point of view, like a youngster's point of view. But for some reason, you knew that he had concern about it. It was like, how could you be this young and be this sharp? You know, at 13, he was rapping like a 17-year-old. You know what I mean? Using language and syllables. And he was really quiet. So when he started rapping like that, you knew that that's what's in the back of his head. So, you know, I used to always tell him, like, man, this hood shit, you mark for something bigger than that. But he used to always say, yeah, I know. That's why I'm doing this hood shit. So, you know, he the one that, you know, I was like, all right, my nigga Nip. And back then he was E.
did you see him gravitating to the hood?
Oh, yeah.
And did you try to stop it or you just...
Yeah, I tried to stop it, but, you know, I was like, hey, you got to do what you're going to do. But I let him know the dangers. I let him know, you know, the direction the hood was going in. But I could also see that he was, you know, doing his hood shit. He was out here, but at the same time, he was trying to be an inspiration for the hood, you know what I mean? He was trying to make a name for himself, but he still had goals and insights.
He wasn't from the hood. Bear Claw had really just, you know, introduced him to it, kind of like, he was already dealing with a lot of homies, but Bear Claw like really made it official.
He didn't think he was better. He didn't act like some of those that was over there that didn't like me by me being from Compton and hadn't been in Compton.
Anything you want to say about any of these pictures, starting with that one? No.
When I met Nipsey, he was like this, no hair. You know, every time I seen Nipsey, when I did see him, I would ask him for autographs for my nephews, and he didn't mind stopping giving it to me. I remember him being at the Shell station, and his entourage was like 50 or 60 cars right there on Crenshaw and Slauson. And he would be the only one in the Shell station. Now, I'm on a mission on the Shell station to get me 2 lighters. You know what for. I ain't got to say it. So they was like, Auntie, you can't go in there, or you can't go in there. Excuse me, because I was in a hurry to get my, you know, things that I needed to get my high on. You know, and Nipsey would laugh and talk, and then I'll be like, hey, Nip. No, I'll say, hey, Snoop, and he'd go, Auntie, because Nipsey was in my house a couple of times, you know. I don't have to go there, but he was a good person, and I loved him, you know. I loved him very much, and all of these mean something to me. You know, when I graduated from the Salvation Army out here, this girl came and brought me the obituary that meant a lot to me, you know, because he was good. Every weekend we go sit by Masterburg, and sometimes Nipsey was in another state or whatever, doing videos, but I would be sitting right there, and every time I seen him, and then he told me, even though I wasn't from Rolling 60 neighborhood, he would tell me, I'm like, how much is in sweatshirts? He said, they go for 50, but since you in the hood, you can get it for 25. You know, and that's good looking out. You know, I just thank God.
But Claustrophobic Studios was like, it was the studios in the hills where a lot of homies came and had the opportunity to record, like, and Bear Claw had put out a big compilation for the homies to come and show their talent. So I just happened to be one of the young homies that was lucky enough to get on there along with Nip.
Well, you had him up at your house though, fucking with the studio, right?
Yes, sir. At my great grandmother's house. We that was the first really. That's where we came up with the hood unit. It was me, Felony, Nipsey, C-Stroll, Car was over there. She come through. A few other members, Cousin. Yep, these original hood units.
Oh shit, hood unit. Kev Mac, what up, Lo? Lil JT, Key to Rock, Daddy Amp, J Stone, what it do, bitch? About to fuck this shit up like this shit here. Check it out.
Was you around for hood unit?
Yeah, I was around. I was on all the hood units, all of them, from 1 to 3, all of them.
So a lot of y'all came out of the hood unit.
Yeah, absolutely. Majority of us came out of the hood unit. Like, if you was a Slauson boy, there's no way you wasn't on the hood unit.
Give me a roll call of the hood unit.
J Stone, R Mac, Lil Kev Mac, Big Key to Rock. They had Corrupt. They had Nip. They had who else?
Lil Felony.
Yeah, actually, Lil Felony. He was on there. He was. Trying to think of who else, man. That was so long ago, man.
Did you say Dob already?
Yeah, Dob. Of course, Dob was on there. Yeah, he had one of the best songs on there. I think that's about as far as I can name. If I miss somebody, forgive me. But as far as I can think of, those were the main ones that was on all the hood units, faithfully, like, that I can remember.
When did Slauson Boys come into play? Who came up with that concept?
Honestly, I came up with the concept in like 04.
The original Slauson Boys was Nip, Cuzzy, Dob, and then as time went on, like as it progressed, and we kind of like got formally introduced to Nip. Then it was We Dog, G Bob, Huster Rob, me and J Stone.
Clowning around with Nip and my other big bro, Baby Gooch. And I just said, we're going to call ourselves the Slauson Boys, just throwing an idea out there, and we laughed about it.
I had seen Cuz at the studio. He wasn't rapping that day. And I asked bro, you know, why he wasn't rapping. He said he wasn't a part of the little squad or whatever. So I called Mayo up. Mayo told me to go get the G4. So we got the G4. Then basically we learned it together though. You know what I mean? We taught each other.
So the music shit came before 60 shit?
For sure. I didn't even realize I grew up in the 60s yet. You feel me? It was kind of like, I didn't even realize that this was the hood.
Naive.
Yeah, I didn't even realize this was the hood like that. Until I met like Cuzzy and Gooch and them niggas started really laying it on me like, nigga, this the hood. You feel me? This the backs, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really realize.
And Nip was all in.
Yeah, Nip was all in. Nip was all in.
And when did you give him his name?
I want to say 04 had me and my girl was giving a party up in the hills and shit. I was on parole at the time. Police surrounded the whole building. So I tell all the homies, like, look, if you on parole or probation, we about to open the door. It's time to go. You got to run with me because we about to go. You know, so all the ones that was on probation, parole or whatever, we crack the door and we break up out of there. By like 4 little homies, they break with me. They get up out of there. A lot of big homies stuck around, try to put their guns up under food and shit and walk out. They got gaffled up, went to prison, whatever they did. But the next day, all the little homies came to my house, so they wanted to get some names. All the homies that ran, they got away from the police that night. They wanted to get names, so I started giving them names, and I say Thundercat for them.
Big Thundercat is Lil Kev Mac, and Lil Thundercat is Nipsey.
I think they did that when he was getting put on. He was down there, he was ready to squabble.
You know, I named Nip, gave him the name, then I told him how the hood go, tell him, you know, a lot of all the foul shit, you know, taught him about a lot of shit before he, you know, I had to lace him on the hood, about the hood before, let him know what he was about to venture off into, like it wasn't all what it ain't all what it look like, it ain't all what it look like, you know what I mean? So like I said, talked to him for a couple days, laced him on the hood, how the hood go, gave him the rules, the regulations, cuz went down, got put on, squabbled up.
My first experiences meeting Nip was through you. You know what I'm saying? And you was telling me, you know, you knew this dude from the block, from your neighborhood that could bust, can ride. You know, and you was like, man, you gotta hear him, you gotta hear him. And then, you know, finally we hooked that up. And he ride for like 45 minutes, him and Cuzzy Capone. And he wouldn't stop, you know what I'm saying? He was relentless, and he wanted me to hear his material. He was real hungry.
What year was this?
This was like, man, 05. You know what I'm saying? Early 05.
We wasn't too serious about it at first because we didn't know where shit was going. Really, we just had an idea, and we just kept it in our hearts and just ran with it.
I remember back in the day, he used to be out here before a lot of homies knew, and he was gravitating out here like everybody knew. They was like, who is that? Who is that? I'm like, man, that's my nigga Nip. Like, what? That's the nigga rapping? How's this nigga rapping about this shit game, baby? Don't nobody know him. I'm like, this nigga been around here all his life. He's just quiet. And now he finna start gangbanging, but he's getting his money and he rapping. So I introduced him to a few people. I remember the incident, it was, you know, some kind of hectic shit, and I had to pull up on the situation. It kind of, you know, deadened it, but it was all good at that. And that's where he kind of met a lot of people, right down there on the corner.
Is this where he met Cuzzy at, on this block right here?
Yep. Cuzzy grandmother lived down there. I grew up around the corner. Rimpau lived up Rimpau. This before he was Rimpau.
So what was the purpose of me introducing you to Nipsey?
Well, to do some tracks with him, to record, you know what I'm saying, to do some demos for him. And that was my role at the time. But, you know, I wanted to do a lot with him because the Slauson Boys at the time was just an idea.
Tell me how you formally introduced Nipsey to Big U.
So, like I said, when I was recording that Claustrophobic and I met Nip, all right, I kind of knew who he was because he was, you know, he had his own little grind. He was selling his DVDs or whatsoever out the back of the trunk. Like, that was real. He had a hustle, plus he had a flow. So when my uncle came home, I'm like, okay, well, he like, who on? Like, I'm stepping into the music industry. Who on? at that time, I was so deep into the hood and like doing so much other different things. I'm like, well, you need to mess with Nip. Like, Nip might be the next one. Like, for real, like, he might be the next one. The flow, the hustle, the image, everything, like, he might be the next one. He like, okay, I'm gonna check him out. Woo. You know, he heard me, and then I think like a month went by, and then I kept on embracing it to him. I told him again, and then he finally took a stand, and I think from that day on, that changed the hood a lot. It did. As far as music-wise, it changed it a lot.
Did the Slauson boys sign with Big U?
In the beginning, the Slauson boys did sign with Big U. Yeah, they did.
You know, we went to Interscope, hollered at Kevin Black early on. That's when you had took it up there, you know.
Right.
And he kind of like wanted to change what we was doing, you know. Yeah, so it's like we ain't mad at none of them niggas. It's just like, you know, we trying to change what they listening for instead of having them change what we doing. You know what I mean? Cause we standing firm on our, you know.
See, this brand new exclusive, like 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Oh, girl, I'm from the hood, so I do it how I'm supposed to. We can get a drink, get a little closer. From the bar to the core to the sofa. I can beat it up or I can slow stroke ya. Let's shake the club, I'm trying to get it poppin'. The music is too loud and everybody watching. I got a feeling that you know I'm gon' kill it. Plus, I'm slow freaking, so you feeling what I'm feeling. I'm ready to fuck, but you getting the touch. Tell a nigga what's up, is you ready or what? Hit the nigga the top, spine full of goosebumps. One pump, give a bitch an adrenaline rush. I got a question, that's serious as cancer. And all I need is a yes or no answer. I got a room we could both spend a night at where I could pipe that. Now, baby, would you like that?
He was going through a situation, then everything kind of like branched off and separated. And then Big U started, he took me and started to use me as a solo act. And he got another couple of artists and stuff like that. So, yeah. But in the beginning, Slauson boys were under Big U.
Tell me a little bit about Sandman.
Sandman was actually, I met Sandman before I met Nip, like that, and that's the crazy part. Sandman was from Eritrea too, like, and barely could speak English, like barely, couldn't even speak a lick worth of English, like, he always loved music, he always wanted to rap, so he was always around us. And Sandman family worked at the gas station on Slauson and Crenshaw, Florence and Crenshaw, like he had real, like, they had real ties in the hood. Like, he lived on 10th Ave in Hyde Park. Like, but he wasn't from the hood. Like, Sandman and Nip, because they peoples know each other. Like, he kind of like gave Nip the blueprint around the hood, and Nip kind of took that and did what he did with it.
You don't think Lil Kev had anything to do with Nip being from the hood?
Lil Kev Mac had a lot of things, a lot of reasons why Nip is from the hood. They were all close, like, Nip, Lil Kev Mac, Domer, like, there's just certain names, they were all close, like, but they had their own little relationship before Nip was from the hood. So, like I said, but Bear Claw, to me, Bear Claw is the one who made Nip officially from the hood, like, but Lil Kev Mac is the reason why Nip, you know what I'm saying, wanted to be from the hood.
First, he was recording over at Rimpau house, right up the street, Rimpau right here, right on the other side of Slauson. Then we all migrated down here to Dexter house. So I met Rollo, Rimpau, Nipsey around the same time.
And where was the studio at over here?
We was in the back, right behind the house.
And Dexter helped put that together?
Yeah, actually Dexter was shooting. Dexter had already a studio here. He had a photography studio. He was doing photography. He was trying to embark on doing videography and shit.
It's actually a fellow by the name of Dexter that kind of got the wheels turning with the whole F the middleman concept.
Yeah, Dexter Brown, man. That was a early supporter, not only of myself, but of my whole squad, you know. He's from Trinidad, and he bought a house in our neighborhood, him and his wife and his 3 kids. Well, he didn't have no kids at that time, and he ended up having a daughter and 2 other daughters. He's a photographer, he's a video editor, and he's just a creative spirit. And, you know what I'm saying, he basically opened his backyard for us, bought studio equipment, and gave us an outlet at a time when it was really important for us to have somewhere to go.
Nip was waiting on Lil Kev Mac to get out of jail, you know what I'm saying, so they can get the group going.
It was all like something coming together at one time. It was like Dexter shooting his videos. He had a lot of models coming through. You know, he's trying to capture the culture, and we was trying to, you know, embark on the culture ourselves, put our name and our stamp on it. So we all came together. We was doing music. Dexter had the microphones, and you know, he had the facility for us to record. We brought our equipment through.
Cousin Capone rhymed too. You know what I'm saying, that day.
Cuz he like my nephew, man. I brought him up too since he's like 8, 9 years old. Even younger than that, he's like 5. Right, this motherfucker. I gave him and his sister their name too.
So where's some of Nipsey's earlier music, man? The music, the E music. Who got that music?
Well, I got some songs on one of my old hard drives on one of my old computers that nobody ever heard, just unfinished. I know Dexter got a lot of music because when we first started doing some of our old music, we was doing like soundtracks, and for my boy, for all his like model, he used to take pictures of models, he used to put together DVDs and video shows, so we used to do a lot of music, like the soundtrack for that. And then after we do that, we'll be still in the moment, so we have a lot of open tracks, so we just go and just start rapping and make different songs while we still in the spirit.
So is it safe to say Dexter actually laid the foundation for Nipsey Hussle as far as the technical part of it?
Yeah, I say he was there to help facilitate the groundwork. You know what I mean? He helped with the equipment. He had the studio. You know what I mean? He was, you know, yeah, he was a facilitator. For the most part, you know, we all had equipment, but I don't think at that time we would have been able to record at the rate and the level that we was recording without Dexter's studio.
Black Sam played a good part in all this shit though. You know, Black Sam don't be on the cameras and shit like that, but Cuz is a key factor. He's the machine behind all this. You know what I mean? He's the machine.
How long after you met Nip did you meet Black Sam?
Within that same year, you know, Black Sam, when we selling our movies or whatever, Black Sam was, you know, to connect. You know, we needed CDs burned or whatever. He had the burners. He helped us burn out the CDs. And once Black Sam got on board, you know, we was making real live money then. You know, Black Sam always been the businessman.
Why was you guys going to Watts? What's the story behind this Watts situation?
It was a program in Watts where Nipsey had a relationship with Watts through Markham. Even before I met him, he already was fucking around in Watts. You know what I'm saying? He grew up kind of in Watts, going to Markham Middle School. So I think that's how he found out about the program, because he already had a, you know what I'm saying, relationship with Watts. And it was just a cool program where they taught us how to work equipment for free. You know, we would go spend like an hour each on the equipment, and we would, you know, ride the train and ride the bus over there and go make some music for like an hour.
What y'all jump on the 108 to the Blue Line?
Yep, the 108 to the Blue Line. We got some sick stories too.
Nigga to the Blue Line. These niggas got stories.
He had some sick stories. Cause I think that's where the Blue Line and the 108 transition at. Isn't that like the Bishop Bloods or something like that right there? Niggas had some issues getting on that Blue Line sometimes. Oh God, niggas that had some real issues. I think Nip told me a story one time. Like, it was one of the times I just didn't go that weekend. I was sick or something. I can't remember why I didn't go. But the niggas got up on him. Just really gave him a hard time. The niggas had to wiggle about that situation. I mean, even not being thoroughly from a hood, you still have to deal with LA on a lot of different levels. You know what I'm saying? Got to be ready for bullshit.
So what was you and Nip's original rap names?
Man.
What was your original crew before you met these guys over here?
That's what I was saying. I didn't know, bro.
I used to call myself EMC. Some crazy shit. EMC. I don't know. Yeah, Dirty Mink. That was like, I don't know how the fuck I came up with that name. I don't know how I came up with that name. I was hella random. Yeah, my hair was like crazy texture like this shit. You feel me? Oh God. So I don't know. I didn't like that name. So, but you know, I had this tattoo on my hand, and I was just looking at it one day for a long ass time, and I'm like, it just made sense to me to call myself Rimpau, because it's the street I grew up on. You feel me? Cuzzy from Rimpau. He was like a big homie to me. Really is my big homie. You feel me? He showed a nigga a lot of this street shit. You feel me? He told a nigga how to program out here. So, you know, I just kind of like pushed myself into that name.
What was Nip's original rap name?
Nip's original rap name was Concept.
Look at
Concept.
That. Look what type of word.
He called it
call himself Concept.
Yeah, he called himself Concept.
I never knew that.
That says it all right there about his mentality.
Yeah.
Did he start off with conscious rap?
For sure. We was conscious rappers. We used to be in a group called with my boy Oliver, my cousin Oliver.
Ed Riot.
Ed Riot. It was Ed Riot, and it was Kid Ink was part of it, I think, and my boy Greg. My boy Greg kind of bipolar though. He's not all the way here now right now, like he's mentally somewhere else. But we was in a group and it was called Stranded Minds, and we used to perform at the Malcolm X Festival in Lamert Park. It was produced by this dude. I forgot what the African dude name was.
Big Crack.
That's where he met Phoebe at.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was rapping about Marcus Garvey and them back then.
For sure. He had a song called Nigga Nonfiction. That song was sick. Cause that song was hard. I wish I could find it. I don't know where it's at, but it's one of them songs. It's hard. Like Nip used to be on some real conscious. We used to all be on that. You know what I'm saying? We used to all be on that. We used to all study that shit for real. Like trying to really elevate our minds. I remember the first time I heard Nip rap. We was on the 3 bus, on the Culver City bus. Is that the 3 bus? Yeah, from West LA. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We'll come from because we would go from when you come from Hamilton, you get on the blue bus and then you get on the 3 bus and then you get on the 108.
Palms and Overland.
Exactly. He spit his first verse. He spit to me on that bus. When I heard bro rap, I'm like, that shit was hard. I just knew at that point, like, Cub was gonna be something. Like, in my mind, I'm like.
You knew from back then, before 58, before Slauson Boys.
Yeah, Hamilton.
You knew this kid was going somewhere.
For sure. I've been a fan of him since then. Like, to be honest with you, that's the reason why I took rap so serious.
Nipsey was, like Daryl Strawberry or, community icon.
This is Los Angeles.